Hello and welcome back to On a Storyteller's Night. I'm, as always, Nathan, joined by my good friend Josh.
Good day, everyone.
So let's start, as we always do, a little bit of small talk. So what have you been up to the past week?
Well, I've been pretty busy with college. Got a little bit of a basic ground plan for my final project.
Oh, cool.
I've done a lot of pre-recordings because I'm going away this weekend.
Mm.
And I can officially say I've started saving properly for the summer holidays because I've got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Other than that, in between, I've been with you, haven't I? So that's pretty much it for me.
Cool. Yeah. All I've done this past weekend, because obviously it was Jack's birthday the other day. He's now 17 and learning to drive. My dad's 70th the other day as well. So we had a trip away this weekend, left on Saturday morning. We went down to Southampton.
Yeah, okay.
And went to the National Motor Museum.
Okay.
I saw all the old cars and motorbikes and all that stuff. It was absolutely fantastic. Got some great pictures of it. It's really worth going down there. It was absolutely fantastic. All like the really, really old cars and bikes and everything, and some like famous cars like obviously Chitty Chitty Bang Bang and Doctor Who cars and Mr. Bean's car and all sorts of stuff like that. So it's quite interesting. The only downside was we didn't realise there was roadworks on the M4 just outside Bristol.
Oh, yeah.
So the 2.5 drive took us almost 7 hours.
Oh,
because it's at junction 18 to 19, and they divert you up through like past Bath and all that, and all these little lanes, and there were just hundreds of cars driving Saturday morning. So we left about 9:30, hoping to get there for like 11 o'clock. We got there like 2:30. So it was a bit of a long journey.
long day.
It was in my mum's new car. She just picked up we picked up the car on Friday. A brand new Citroen Berlingo, so it'd be great for holidays and stuff. Cause it's got loads of space, and my dad's wheelchair will fit in it, and my mum's like walker will fit in it. It's like loads of luggage space. So that was nice driving that. So it's a nice new car, like brand new. It's now done about 400 miles. It's that new, so that was kind of nice, I must admit. But yeah, stayed in the Hilton down there as well. Had an evening meal which was atrocious, and nothing was as it was described to be. So we had to complain about that and get money back. But the breakfast was really nice in the morning, so, had several breakfasts, as you have to, with, like, cooked dinner and stuff, don't you? You have to keep going back more and more and more, so that's good, and a nice drive back, so one to wear, then a meal after it as well, so, yeah, all in all, not a bad weekend, must admit. Pretty good. Right, so, topic this week.
Okay, crack on.
What scares you? Phobias, movies, and gaming nightmares. We've been talking about it so much, so I thought, right, so I split into 3 types. So first of all, we'll do with like personal fears and phobias, then horror movies, what actually works, and then video games, fear in an interactive world. Those are the kind of subtopics we go for. So did you want to start with what scares you?
It's not what's on top, it's what's underneath. The ocean floor is what scares me, otherwise known as phasmophobia.
So is it the floor, or is it getting to the ocean floor? So is it like the gap in between?
It's starting from the moment the head goes underneath all the way to the surface. No matter how deep it goes, everything in between there till the ocean floor. Oh, I'm good. I'm all right.
So you're okay as long as you can't see the bottom?
I'm okay as long as the water doesn't touch my neck. As soon as it touches my neck, that's when I start panicking. But it's happening, people. I'm going under.
Oh, God. I could imagine that. I love the water. I love swimming and stuff. I don't often do it in the sea because it's cold and like awful, like swimming pools, but I love swimming.
You see, I can't swim. I can only do... I can do breaststroke barely. I can barely do breaststroke. But I can do backstroke like...
That's because you don't go under too. Yeah.
No, I'm legit just chilling out.
Yeah. No, I usually do breaststroke. I can't be bothered with the whole like freestyle and Olympic stuff now. Breaststroke, and I can, because I was going swimming like every morning, so I can swim for miles now. It's like quite easy. It took ages to get to. The hardest part with swimming, I find, is getting your breathing right. If you're running, breathing kind of makes sense. When you're swimming, breathing isn't the same way as it is when you're running or walking. So it's like you have to relearn when to breathe in and out, and it's kind of strange because that's the hardest part. You get worn out just from the breathing, not from the actual activity. It's a weird thing to get used to, swimming. I've always loved swimming, but it's, if you don't do it for a while, it's like getting back into it. It's a weird feeling, the way you kind of have to regulate your breathing with the strokes. It's a very strange thing. Really, really strange. But I don't really have many fears. I don't like spiders. It's not like I'm scared of them. If I see one, I'll just kill one. But I'll still go into a room with one, and I know they're there. So it's not like I have a complete phobia of them, and I won't go into a room and I'll panic. No, I'll just step on them. I just don't like the damn things, really. But other than that, I can't think of many fears I've actually got. I don't mind heights too much. I've been up on high things. Heights and stuff is fine, so I don't have that. Do you have any kind of irrational fears other than the water thing? Like anything irrational that's just kind of like, or freaks you out a little bit? Or kind of affects you?
I can answer this without my heart racing or me quaking in my little boots, unlike the water. But that I've got 4 things that I'm like, oh no, I'm okay. I can deal with it if it happens, but I choose to stay away at all costs. Right. That is little spiders, like creepy crawly ones. The ones that you see in the corner of your room and you say, I'm happy with you staying there. But if you move and disappear, that's when I'm going to kill you when I next see you. That's the weird bit. It doesn't freak me out that much, but I'm just like, where the hell did that go? Yeah. And I have that kind of, where the hell is it? But I know when it comes out, I'm just going to step on it. So I'll get that kind of, and step on it. It's not like I completely panic. It's like, it'll show up again kind of thing. I'm not that bad. See, I don't mind them. It's just the fact that they've got no weight to them. Like, I adore tarantulas. They have weight. They have weight. You can see them. They've got personality. But then you've got little creepy crawly spiders. They've got no weight. They're just mush. And just seeing one running across the floor from under the desk to the bed is like, you're coming after me. Yeah, I'm going to come after you.
That's one thing I will say about spiders. I will never put my washing on the line outside. I've got one of those rotary lines, and it's next to a hedge. Yeah, and I've used it previously, and I got all the washing, and I was going to do some ironing and stuff, and picked up a shirt from the pile, and the massive spider just crawled out. I was like, no. I had to step on it, but it was one of the big crunchy ones. Oh, and it was just like, and it's just like, luckily it wasn't on the clothes, just on the carpet, so I had to scoop it up and get rid of it. But it's just like, that didn't make me feel happy that it was in my clothes. So, and it's just like, did it come from the room? Did it come from outside? Was it in my, you know what I mean? It's like, where did it come from? That's kind of like, so I just don't put my clothes. Like, I've got radiators, I've got clothes horse, I've got a tumble dryer. I don't need to, and I don't do that much laundry. It's just me. So I only do laundry once a week, sometimes once every 2 weeks. So it's like, I don't need to put it out on the line. So it's like, I can't be asked for that.
You see, the second one for me, I don't mind bumblebees. I find them adorable. They're cute. They're the reason why there are bumblebees. We get honey. I love them. Yeah. Oh, wasps, on the other hand, dreadful. Yeah. I can't. I've been stung by one. Never again. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Wasps are vindictive, aren't they? Bees, they only sting you as last resort because they'll die. Yeah. Wasps don't give a shit. It's like, I'm just going to sting you and I'm going to do it again. I'm going to call all my friends over. Yeah, they're vindictive little shits.
No, I got, I got stung right in between my pinky and my ring finger. Like, the meat in between my fingers. Oh my God.
I can beat that. I've been stung by a bee on my eyelid. Just closed my eye before I got stung. That's not nice.
See, I've had bumblebees fly into my eye while I was cycling during the summer, but I've never been stung in the eye. I am sorry you went through that. I just hope I never go through it myself. You're on your own.
Yeah, but luckily it wasn't on my eye. It was just my eyelid. So, I got away with that one. I was kind of lucky with that. But yeah, it's like, yeah.
Now, the third one for me, this one, in my opinion, is paramount over the other two. Yeah. For me, it has to be the fear of just getting my hands dirty. When I'm working with my dad in the tree surgery family business, I'm expecting it. But if I say I'm on holiday and we go and do one of the holiday tasks, and about 2 hours in of the 4-hour journey of the holiday task, it's like, oh, you're gonna have to get your hand dirty. That's when I'm okay. I wasn't expecting you to say that. I'd rather keep myself clean. I've got stuff planned. I do not want to go home and have a shower. I had one this morning, thank you.
Yeah.
It's the surprise of, by the way, get your hands mucky. It's like, no, I'm okay. You can stay over there with your feed.
I feel sorry for you one day when you have kids and you have to change nappies. And it's just it gets everywhere. That's worse than dirt. That just gets everywhere. Unexpectedly sometimes, because, it's like, I suppose you help out with your little brother sometimes, don't you? So
yeah. But the thing is, you expect that from children. You don't expect it from teenagers or grown-ups. Like, by the way, we're going to do this and get grabby. With babies, you expect it. You expect it any moment of the day.
Yeah, true.
What about you? Have you got more than one?
No, I don't tend to. Not a lot gets to me. It's just like spiders. Just like I don't like them. It's like, other than that, I don't really have many fears. I don't think.
Let's see how you take this piece of new information about me. I have had a tarantula sit in my gob for 5 minutes.
Why?
I was like,
why?
Let's give it a go. I know my inside a human body is too hot for any insect animal to live in. It's way too hot.
But why would I just understand why you would? It's like, why? It's dirty.
The thing is, but the thing is, if I was told when I do it, lightly, once every so often when the tarantula is like getting a bit uncomfortable and starts slowly moving, just massage the bottom of its fangs. It numbs it and it makes it go to sleep. As soon as you open, it's like, oh my goodness, fresh air. I can slowly crawl out, like it's crawling out of its own burrow, very slowly. It was actually insane for the first minute. But then I just sat there. I wasn't salivating. I didn't need to swallow any saliva because the tarantula was just absorbing it. And when I got told, "All right, mate, you can open your mouth now and let it crawl out," I didn't flinch. That was when I got over my fear, because I did have a rational fear of spiders in general, tarantula, creepy crawly, and everything in between. But now, because of that experience, I don't have anything against tarantulas at all.
I just don't like them because they're weird looking. But it's like other things like snakes. I love snakes. I've owned snakes before.
Yeah,
I love snakes.
Same.
And one of my favorite animals of all of them are bats. I love bats. Bats, I think, are fantastic creatures, especially fruit bats. Oh my god, fruit bats are amazing creatures. They're so cool. Yeah, that's not
sorry. I just had to throw it in because you said bat.
Right, let's go on then to horror movies.
Horror movies.
What actually works? Do they work? Are they just silliness? But there's a difference. Like the thing with horror movies, they've changed a lot over the years as well.
Yes,
they go to like monsters and then psychological and then something else, and it's kind of like there's a big change. Which type of thing do you find? Like the slashers, the monsters, the psychological, the supernatural? Which kind of do any of them work for you?
Oh yeah. By work for me, do you mean they don't faze me at all?
No, work as in scare you. Which do you find scary of those different types? Is it kind of like the realistic, like the first Halloween movie where Michael Myers wasn't supernatural and he was just kind of like a bit mental, or Hannibal Lecter, or the more supernatural ones like Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger?
So, I'm going to answer that with I grew up afraid of horror. But with the help of Jim Henson and learning the stuff like the Dark Crystal and the Muppets and how they were working and being made, I came to understand the world of film and television, and I decided to go on a bit of a horror craze, try and understand the film and the genre. The only two things, that get to me on odd occasion. This first one I'm going to say is very infrequent. It either gets to me or it doesn't. I don't mind gore, but there's a limit. The Saw films, starting on 3, the Saw 3, the third film on Saw, and then further on, it's like, okay, it's getting a bit too much now. It makes me a bit like, ooh, and a bit scared.
Have you seen Terrifier?
I haven't. I really want to watch them, though. I've heard
if you
good things.
Saw is a bit like mental.
Terrifier's a lot, I know.
I won't spoil it too much, but there's one scene in the very first movie where he hangs this girl upside down, gets a chainsaw, and cuts her in half.
Sweet.
Between the legs, in half, completely.
No,
and that was one of the tables, and I guess it goes kind of more insane from there. But it seems to be a lot of horror movies. They go for like the gore, and that sort of thing, rather than kind of like the jump scares. They just go for like the gore and then a quick jump scare and then loads of gore and blood and guts. Yeah. For me, it's all special effects. It's something I've always loved. It's why I love horror movies and that kind of genre. I've always enjoyed it since I was a kid, because I've always had a fascination with like special effects. And I'm a big fan of like Ray Harryhausen. I grew up watching his movies and that sort of thing. If you know who Ray Harryhausen is, he's one of the pioneers of a lot of like the stop motion. Like, did you ever see like the original Clash of the Titans and all those old movies? Like Clash of the Titans, Seven Voyages, Sinbad, and all of that. He did all like the monster ones. Like the classic one is the skeletons that come to life with like the swords and shields. He was the one that like created all of that, the stop motion, and then putting the actors in that.
And now that you say that, he was one of the designers for Jason and the Argonauts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he did the special effects for that. Yeah,
great film, by the way. Anyone that's listening, watch it. Those type of films are amazing.
Clash the Titans, the Sinbad movies. He did hundreds of them, and that's what really got me into kind of special effects and figuring out. So I never get scared of horror movies because I'm always looking like, how did they do that? How did they do that? That's interesting, Mass. Because what I actually wanted to do, my lifelong dream was to do special effects for movies, special effects and the puppeteering and all that kind of side of it. So that's why I studied like engineering. So I'd do like robotics and pneumatics, hydraulics, electronics, and all that. So I'd have like a wide range of different skills because I can do kind of some of the art stuff as well and painting and all that. So that's what I wanted to do.
Which is why I mentioned earlier Jim Henson, the creator of the actual figurines of the Muppets, the Dark Crystal film, and everything else. Labyrinth, brilliant. There was this. It was called a television show called Jim Henson's Incredible Workshop.
Yeah.
The winner of this competition, they would build their own puppets, but. At the end, the winner was guaranteed a 5-year contract to work at Jim Henson Studios.
Nice.
And one of these episodes was It, the original television show. Now, this perfectly segues into my biggest no. I have a crippling fear, not like thalassophobia, where I just immediately say no and panic. I stand still to the sight of clowns.
I knew you were going to say that. Oh, I love clowns, but It is one of my all-time favorite movies because I'm a huge fan of Tim Curry. Because things like Rocky Horror Picture Show and all that. He's one of my always been one of my favorite actors. So I love the original It. Second part, not so much, and the new one was quite good. But the second part, I don't like the way the film ends. The story, I think it's a bit like big.
Well, I'll have you know, my girlfriend wants me to watch it, but the remake films, I have made a bargain with her. She doesn't like aliens, in particularly xenomorphs.
Yeah.
So I struck a bargain with her. If I watch both It films, because like I said, I have a crippling fear, I stand still, I don't speak, I just think. But she has the same thing for xenomorphs. if I watch both It films back to back, she would watch the entirety of Predator, Alien vs Predator, and the Alien franchise, and she has agreed with me. So that's going to be an interesting week.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. But it's quite good. This is what I like about kind of It, the first movie, more than the second one. I'm not going to go into spoilers and say about it, but it's all kind of more realistic. It's not all necessarily supernatural. It's this creepy clown that's kind of killing children, and that sometimes I think is kind of what makes horror in that way, is when it's something that's believable. I find that more freaky, like when it's something that could happen, rather than the ones that like big monster or big squidgy thing that's coming to kill you. Those ones I just find laughable. It's like I'm figuring out how they're doing it and what they did and the makeup and all the special effects.
Yeah.
When it's something you could believe could happen, then that's more kind of like, that's sometimes a bit more believable and a little bit, I think, better. Like I said, the first Halloween movie, Michael Myers was this strange little kid that kills his sister, and then he grows up and he's a big bloke then, and he's stalking people. That makes a lot more sense than like Jason Voorhees and so on.
Yeah, now that it's gone supernatural, I've grown to dislike it.
Yeah.
It takes away from the reality that this could be real.
Exactly.
At any time. It's more like, oh, by the way, it was real, but now it's all fake.
That's what I like about things like Freddy Krueger, because it's based in your dreams, and the whole concept behind that was this phenomenon where people would die for no reason in their sleep. And there's like folklores and so on. I can't remember if it was in Africa or somewhere in Asia. I can't remember where, but they had this kind of folklore that if you died in your dreams, you die in real life. And that's kind of where the whole Freddy Krueger comes from. There's a lot of other films that dealt with it back in the day. There was Dreamscape. There was this one, it had Dennis Quaid in it. And they had people that would go into your dreams to manipulate it. So a little bit like Inception, but a kind of evil way. They go into your dream and assassinate people. So he was like the good guy, and he was going into dreams to try and save like the president and all that kind of thing. So that was quite interesting. The whole going into people's dreams and helping them overcome their fears was the whole point behind it. Help kids that are having crippling nightmares go into the nightmare with them and help them out of it, and kind of teach them how to control the dream and all that kind of thing. So that was quite interesting. They did that, and then the whole Freddy Krueger thing came from Wes Craven actually having a nightmare about it, and then he wrote the story after having a bad dream about it. So I think sometimes that's a good way, because it's something that is more believable. But there was this movie a while ago called They. I think it was Wes Craven as well.
I know what you're on about, yeah.
And it's like creatures in the dark. Like you can't quite see, but they're there in the dark somewhere, and like all the weird noises at night. But the whole kind of premise behind that was that these kids had been abducted by aliens at some point, and nobody ever believes them, and nobody knows quite what happened. But they were marked by these creatures, then come back for them when they're adults to eat them or whatever, but they come back for them, and that's why they're kind of in the dark. And that I found quite interesting. Similar kind of creatures in some ways. They felt like in Pitch Black, like the creatures in the dark. I think sometimes that's a little bit more freaky than a lot of the big nasty monsters, the ones that just kind of hide, that you can't see, that you could think could be in the shadows. When you're all alone and it's quiet, and you just hear those weird little like clicky noises and the weird rustles and stuff, and it's like, those are the ones I think are more freaky and more frightening, because although it's fantastical and monsters and creatures from another dimension or another planet, it's kind of like they don't show them too much. It's not like in your face a big massive monster eating your face. They're things that kind of hide away, and they could possibly be there, and the lights flash or something happens. It's like, that I find more freaky and kind of interesting than the big monster that goes around and knocking people's heads off or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think, personally, that's what I kind of like. But, things like, Silence of the Lambs, a lot of people find that frightening because of the whole, could be real, the guy kidnapping women and feed them up so you can like peel their skin off and wear the skin, and Hannibal Lecter eating people and all that. A lot of people find that a little more frightening because there are people like that. They're based on real people. It's kind of weird,
this whole new wave of horror. There's a film that's coming out very soon, and I'm looking forward to it. A new horror film, and I know a few people in my friend group at college that they're really scared to watch it.
Yeah.
And they say that their fears are mythical creatures. It's Death of a Unicorn with Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega.
Oh, yeah. I've seen clips of it, yeah.
I really can't wait to watch that. I don't remember the last film that had an original script like that from a mythical creature. The closest thing that I can put in my head is probably, I wouldn't say recently, but The Fly with Jeff Goldblum. A creature that is human, but completely changes. It's into the body.
That's quite a common kind of thing over the years, where it's a human-like creature. You go all the way back to like Frankenstein's monster. I know that's a human-like thing, but then that's where you get zombies and vampires. They're human-like, but slightly altered. There's something not quite right with them. Like, do you find zombies scary?
No.
No, I don't. Or vampires. I quite like vampires. I've always been a huge vampire fan.
I generally think if there was a zombie... Yeah, I generally think if there was a zombie apocalypse or vampire apocalypse, I think I'll actually do quite well in it. That's not me picking myself up. I generally think I will survive a while.
It depends on the type of zombie.
If we talk about World War Z, I'll think myself there and then. If it's The Walking Dead, you can see me till I turn grey.
Yeah, because they're slow, shambling, mindless creatures. You know, that's easy. But what if, there's so many different types. But it's what I don't like about The Walking Dead. As I said before, I find The Walking Dead boring, predictable, annoying. It's just, show. Yeah, I like the first series. I found it was an interesting concept. But then it's too much of stupid people. I said before, it reminds me of Casualty, and there's 100 different shows like that about ambulances and hospitals, where you see, let's say, for instance, it's in a workshop and you get some guy, he's using a lathe and he doesn't put the cover over, or you see there's a cable trailing, so he's going to trip on something or do something, and you're waiting to see the stupid thing he does. It gets hurt and then he has to go to the hospital. The Walking Dead is exactly the same. There's a shop. There's some zombies in the back of the shop. The guy goes, I'm going to go in the shop and get some Twinkies or whatever. And you're just waiting for him to do something stupid and not look around the corner and get eaten by a zombie. They are exactly the same TV show. Just one has doctors and one has zombies. They're exactly the same. I can't stand either of them because it's the way they do set it up. You see the problem going to be happening. You see the stupid people that are going to put themselves in that problem. And I don't understand it. And it's like The Walking Dead, a lot of it is all the morons around in fighting, which I know people would because people are stupid. But it's just like, it's just annoying that people are then fighting each other and all get eaten by the zombies. It's like that farm. Was it Herschel? Was his name?
Herschel,
they had the farm, and they were keeping the guy alive and just cutting pieces off him to feed themselves, and then it all went wrong. And it's just like, and then they were keeping zombies in the shed and stuff. And people do stupid things on these shows, and you think, would they really though? Take these stupid risks when there's zombies there. Just kill them all around you and fortify yourself. I've often thought, where would I hide out if there was a zombie apocalypse? One of the best places I think is a gym. A big industrial gym that has big roller shutters and that sort of thing, and there's loads of equipment to keep yourself active. You've got all the treadmills, you've got the weights, all the weight bars and dumbbells, everything else. They make quite good weapons. You've got loads of foods there, dry food, because you've got all the protein and that sort of thing. So there's a lot of that. You've got water dispensers. You've got all that. You could survive for quite a while. And there's the other thing you could do: get all the treadmills, put them all around the building, and as the zombies come, they'll be stuck walking on the treadmills. They'll never get into. They'll just be standing there walking on the treadmills constantly. And if you hooked them up, then you could have them generate electricity for you. All the zombies just walking on the treadmills around the building, creating electricity for you. You're sorted.
You know what, Nathan? If a zombie apocalypse happened, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to purpose sign in memory of Nathan. That's a very, very, very good way of putting it. Getting zombies to become, especially if it's Walking Dead zombies.
They're just shambling in one direction, and they just, put something in front of them, like wherever you hang a piece of it or whatever, so they're always trying to go towards it. But, if they're shambling forwards, use them. They can't go anywhere. They'll just be stuck on the treadmill going forwards. If you've got enough of them around your building, it's like, well, you sorted, didn't you?
Oh yeah, brilliant
The fact
idea.
you've got all the stuff inside, there's loads of bits of metal, the big Olympic bars and stuff like that. They're really good blunt instruments to be hitting zombies around the head with. They're heavy,
Anyways,
solid metal. Great.
what about you? Because you haven't actually answered your own question yet
What I
about
think, what
what gets
movies
to you.
work.
Yeah, yeah, what
It's
gets
like
to
I
you?
said, it's just the things like when it could be when it's kind of in the dark. You know what I mean? But it's
Oh,
that's what I mean.
yeah.
It's the realism sides of it. The things where you've got some clown or something that jumps out and does, ridiculous things and's got, whatever else that is a bit unbelievable, and I found all that a bit silly. But it's where something is kind of unknown and it could be, or like Jaws. That must be a big one for you.
Oh,
Sharks are real. They don't generally attack people that much. More people get killed by cows every year than sharks, let's be honest. But it's one of those things, it's the unknown. That's, I think, is the bit that works with these kind of movies, is you're in the water, you don't know what's below you, it could come up and grab you.
you see,
Or if it's in the dark in the corner, you can't quite see it's there. Is there something there? Is there somebody there? Somebody behind the door? That's the thing, is the anticipation of it more than the jump scare. It's something that always sticks in my mind is Alfred Hitchcock. So the way he looks at that is, you could just have, like, say there's an auditorium, somebody's doing a speech, or there's a rock concert or something, and a bomb goes off. You jump. Now, what if you see the bomb with a timer, it pans out, and you see like more and more of it, and you're waiting for it to go off? It's the anticipation of that happening. That's what I think brings like the scare factor in. I know you know there's a creature. It's in the dark. It could be there. You hear the noises. Is it there? Isn't it there? It's seeing that movement out the corner of your eye. Because that happens. I started writing a horror book years ago, but I'm just too lazy to write it, called Peripheral Vision, and it's about those creatures. It's something you see, movement in the corner of your eye, you turn and there's nothing there. But what if it noticed you saw it? What if it was there and it saw you looking at it? That's the idea I came up, but I just never get around to writing because I'm not a good writer. But that's one of the, I've been trying to write books for years, but that was one of like the core ideas. So what if it noticed and it saw you looking at it? It's that kind of thing I think works better, because it could be, and it's something you've experienced, where you hear a weird noise, or you think you hear somebody calling your name. It's that kind of side of it that I think's worked, because it draws into kind of the primal fear and something you felt yourself. You feel like somebody's watching you. It's somebody walking behind you. It's somebody following you. It's those fears I think work better.
That's baffled me, because at a younger age, I always thought it was freaky. Like, you looked to the left and you just have a black screen go across your vision, and then you, like, what the hell was that? What just went past me? Yeah. And then you, like, speak to your mates or the people around you, like, I saw nothing, mate. I don't know what you're on about, you crazy loony. But
the whole idea, I'm spoiling it so somebody will steal this idea, but my whole idea, have you ever seen Flatliners?
I have, yes.
So the whole premise of that is they control, kill each other and resuscitate them so they can experience like the afterlife and what's happened. Well, my idea was similar. A bunch of students, and so the first scene would obviously be, something happens, like maybe a young girl walking down on the way home, and she keeps seeing something, and she can think it's following her, and then it like grabs her and all that kind of thing, to introduce like the idea of what the monster is without actually seeing it, just the situation, there's something there. But then like university or something, and the lecturer is talking about like fears, and what people are afraid of, and they need to come up with some kind of experiments or a rationale to kind of test the fears, and they decide to come up with this. So they rig something together that and have somebody kind of strapped into a chair, but their eyes will kind of cause movement in the chair and so on. So when they think they see something, when they turn, they'll turn to it a lot quicker to try and catch a glimpse of what they're seeing, and that's when it kind of notices them and starts like picking them off and going after them and stuff. That's kind of the idea I've got for that, and other stuff happening. But it's kind of, that is the kind of idea, because it's something that draws in something everyone has experienced. When you see the movements, like, did I see something? Didn't I see something? They do a lot of that though in Doctor Who already. There's a lot of creatures that are kind of like off into the kind of phased out, and you occasionally see them out of the corner of your eye. So it's kind of quite a common thing. But I come up with ideas all the time. I came up with an idea years ago that I called Christmas Mall, which is basically like a big shopping mall that's like, closed at the moment, and a bunch of people get invitations to go there, while it's closed, to kind of, do a kind of supermarket sweep, a dash to get what they want. And they all go in there, and in the different shops, they all got killed off in different ways. So like somebody goes into like Starbucks to have a coffee, but the entire all the doors close, and then the whole place fills up with boiling coffee, and they drown in boiling coffee. Like this, all different things with different people in like different things, and it all turns out the person that organised it because they'd all wronged him in some way, which to be honest ended up then somebody made sore, which is kind of similar in many ways. So it's kind of like, well, it's kind of been done now, so I didn't do anything with it. But I came up with that back in 99, 2000.
Yeah,
I started coming up with that idea. So it's really weird. I come up with ideas, I kind of note it down and think about it, and then a year later or a couple of years later, somebody else does exactly the same thing. And it's really weird. I've done it so many times. Years ago with like Warhammer, like 40,000, I came up with an idea for Dark Eldar. And then a couple of years later, they came up with it. And it's like, but I came up with that already. Like, what the hell? Really frustrating. Mental.
All right, let's move on to computer games. Time's getting a bit on now.
Yeah. It's only 36 minutes, not too bad. We've got a bit of time. It's all good.
Oh, but there's a lot to talk about here. I can already tell.
Yeah, so have any video games actually scared you or freaked you out?
Off the top of my head, in all honesty, 2.
Yeah.
First one, something that you're not going to expect. Actually, no, I'll leave that one for the second one. The first one, I will say, it might have to be... Oh, I think it's just the one,
Yeah. Isolation.
Yeah, it has to be Alien Isolation.
We won't count Subnautica because you haven't actually played it, so yeah, Alien Isolation.
Yeah, it would be Alien Isolation.
Yeah.
We never saw anything like that.
No.
It's the AI of the Xenomorph. It evolves. It's the first gaming AI system that evolves every time you play. Not every time you play, but every time you go through areas in the same save file, it evolves and it saves when you save.
Yeah,
you hide underneath a table, it will check underneath every single table.
Yeah, as you know, I've played obviously a lot of horror games on my channel. I played Outlast, which a lot of people freaked out. You watch like Jacksepticeye and PewDiePie and Markiplier and everyone playing Outlast. And one of the early bits in the game, like when you first get like this body, you open a door and this body swings at you. They're all like screaming and jumping off their chair, and it's like and all the time these people like jumping at you. The thing about Outlast, which is quite good, is that a lot of it's believable because you're in like what seems to be an abandoned insane asylum, but it's not abandoned. All the inmates are kind of there, and they're all a bit nasty and freaky. That's got a lot of moments that are quite interesting because you, like Alien, you can't fight back. No. All you have is a camera that has a night vision mode that you can turn on, but you have to worry about batteries. So when it's dark, you can turn on the night vision, and everything's got that green haze and really grainy, and you get that. That's quite good. I didn't find it scary. It was more interesting, and I get something jumps out, and I'm like, oh, hello. I can't do the fake jumping off my chair and going, oh my god, and I'm freaking out. I can't do that. But Alien, it's the only game that's kind of got to me a little bit, but it's mainly because I'm so familiar with the settings and the sounds and the visuals.
The behaviour of
you get drawn into it.
That's what drew me in. I know the behaviour of that xenomorph, of the drone. I know how it behaves. But the moment I first died from it, I was hiding in
the cupboards,
one of the lockers on the
Well, I
third.
did that for so much because you
Yeah.
get caught in the locker and it's like, I'll get out now. And then you see it's like, shit, I almost got killed. It's like at one point I called it the Harry Potter simulator because I spent my whole time like living in a cupboard. That's all he did for half of it. It's just like, it's ridiculous. And it's the only game that I felt like that. Other the other one, it's just like, walk out, oh, I'm dead, never mind. But no, it gets you because you're so drawn in because it's, I've seen Aliens. I've seen it, Alien, God, I don't even how many times. It was actually the first VHS tape that I bought in widescreen, was the original Alien. When they first released it in widescreen, it was the first widescreen movie I bought. Which is weird thinking back now because everything's widescreen, but back then it wasn't. That was the first widescreen movie I bought, which is just like bizarre. But oh my God,
I just remember the first time. I remember it clearly. It was the fourth or fifth mission. No, it wasn't. I did very well. It was all the way up to where you constantly go around in circles. That one area where you have a circular corridor and it splits off into small little rooms, but it stayed in that circle. And you had the Xenomorph 100% of the time with you on that mission.
There was a lot of areas like that. Remember the one bit with the tram?
Yes.
And you had to like try and get it and do it really quietly and activate in different areas. And every time you knew it was coming, and it's like you had to quickly do it before it come. And then it starts running towards you just before the door closed. And it's just like that bit can get a little bit freaky because time's against you. You have to be so quiet. And it's just, it was brilliant. It's just
the way I first died. It was like it was like I was in the film. I was controlling Ripley. I had the sensor out. I was like, I don't think it's going to be the Xenomorph here. I haven't heard it or seen it since I started this part of the game. All right, brill. And then I just hear running behind me. I shit you not. I went straight into one of the lockers and it just went silent. I pulled out the sensor and it wasn't there. I thought I was hearing things. My brain was playing tricks on me, and then I just see the beep, beep, getting closer and closer and closer. In my head, bear in mind, it wasn't like microphone detected at this point. I thought that the beeping of the motion sensor would attract it. I put it away.
Yeah.
I saw it enter the room. It stood there. It looked directly at my locker and just walked off. The second I open my locker, I get it running right towards my face. It literally just made a 360 and sprint towards me.
Yeah.
I jumped and screamed like a little girl. My dad, who was sitting next to me, he was pissing himself. Sorry, the language. He was absolutely wetting himself afterwards. But I tell you now, he has a more sterner stuff for me than me. Yeah. He squealed just as much as I did. He didn't expect it. And I think he's the only person I know that can go toe to toe to not. I wouldn't say me, but more you against who knows the world of Alien Predator more. He's the only person that I know that can go toe to toe with you.
Yeah. Oh, it was just so good. That's why I really have to play that new VR one, but I just haven't got around to it yet.
We need to figure out how to do the stream together because I'm withholding playing that game again until we can figure out the dual streaming.
Yeah.
The dual streaming that game simultaneously will be amazing.
Yeah, it'll be mental, isn't it? But there's so many games though, because obviously we're going to be doing some zombie stuff shortly and all that. Oh, it's so good. But I find it funny when people find stuff like, obviously, the forest scary, going into the caves. I won't mention any names of who finds that frightening and can't play it alone and has to have somebody to join them.
And it's a group call while I go down in this cave. Sorry, but I love you, but
I just laugh. That's just considering we've played it so many times as well. And it's just like, it's not a scary game. There's jump stuff and it's like, oh no, he's going after me, but it's not scary in that way. It's atmospheric and everything. It works quite well, but it's like Resident Evil is not at all scary. Not even slightly, is it? Let's be honest. It's not.
I say when it came out, with the first game, yes, it was really scary. We never saw a game like that before.
Yeah, but I still didn't, because it's like, movies and games and stuff. I don't find it, because it's on screen and it's far away and it's obvious, especially back then when the graphics were so crap. It didn't feel realistic. Now the graphics are getting better and better, and it's more immersive, and it can draw you in like Alien. It can really draw you in. But back then, I didn't find it would that much.
When it comes
it's not scary in the same thing, though, is it? Because like with games, it's like you're running away from it because you don't want to get killed, but that's because you don't want to lose your progress. It's a different kind of fear. It's a bit of a kind of, it's a weird one, isn't it?
You see, when it comes to Resident Evil, I would say the first game was the scariest, the original on the PlayStation 1 and GameCube, etc. I think up to date now, the closest thing when it comes to really like horror, scary, back to its original roots, when it comes to Resident Evil, was the first remake of Resident Evil 2. Resident Evil 2 remake was, it deserved all of its praise for how scary it was, how dark it was as well. It was the first game that had a remake that went darker, and it was more mysterious. And it was clear by the trailer that a lot of content's been cut, but a lot of new content's been added. And that, I think, with Resident Evil 2 being one of my favorite all-time games, well, the remake, I still remember playing it the first time round. I wasn't scared until once I got into the sewers. I calmed down a bit, and that was quite early on in the game. I calmed down almost immediately as soon as I got into the sewers. I wouldn't say fear, but the fact of being scared by a licker just randomly coming out of the ceiling and chasing after you disappeared, because I like the whole baby thing. I was expecting it. I know it's coming at some point. But with Alien Isolation, with the Xenomorph AI evolving every step you play as Amanda,
it could hear you and all that. And I think with games like that, a lot of it, because you can't fight back, it gets to you that a little bit more, because you can't do anything against it. Whereas another game like, you're playing Doom, it's full of, all kinds of creatures and stuff. You've got a big gun and just walk through and shoot it. But with Isolation, you don't get that option. All you can do is hide. And that's what I think gets claustrophobic, isn't it?
The only time I say that Alien Isolation becomes somewhat, I wouldn't say easy. No, I wouldn't say easy at all. I would say more like, okay, I have a chance. The game is saying I have a chance of survival the moment you get the flamethrower. But then again, the fuel is very scarce in the game.
Yeah.
The moment you get the flamethrower, you're like, brilliant, new toy. You've used every single drop of fuel that you can find in the game. Very early on, you're screwed. Because I generally think if you're playing, lying back, just relaxing, and you can get the flamethrower, you can complete the game without the flamethrower. You're just relaxing. But for someone that's playing the game for the first time or coming back to the game for a second time,
it's that panic reaction to it. I can do something, I can get rid of it, but you need it later.
Yeah, and I generally think the first playthrough and second playthrough, people end up reloading the save that they get when they get the flamethrower, because they realize I might not be able to actually complete the game without it.
Yeah. No, definitely. Right, let's move on to one last one before we finish. So, science of fear. Like, why do we like being scared?
Oh, my personal opinion, it's to show that no one is above anyone else. It's to make everyone there's a petty answer and then there's the real answer. The petty answer is it makes everyone human. The real answer is to show that anyone can be scared. No one in the world isn't scared of anything. There's always something.
But then why do people like being scared?
Adrenaline.
Exactly. And it's the excitement of it. It's like, bungee jump or anything else, just getting that rush of something in it that some people get from horror movies. I don't get that from horror movies in quite the same way other people do. You know, I'll be sat there in a cinema with other people, and you hear people like shouting, screaming. I'm just kind of sat there laughing at them. Same if I go into like, I know the classical like haunted house rides and stuff like that, or like the ones where you're walking around and all the stuff happens. I'll be walking around just laughing because I just find it all hilarious because it's not scary because there's nothing actually dangerous there. You know what I mean? It's like I'll just walk around like having a laugh and everyone else like freaking out, and it's like, well, you know, it takes different levels for different people. But because I'm into that kind of thing and I enjoy like how it works and why it works and what they're doing in the background, it's like movies don't get to me because I know how it all works. So like Jack grew up watching like all the behind the scenes stuff and understanding like the creature makeup and the, you know, and how they make all the different special effects, and he loves all that stuff. He's a big fan of like, you know, he loves clowns. He's a huge fan of clowns. It's like when we went to, when he was only little, he was probably about 10 years, only like 6 or 7, if that. And we went to Cardiff Comic Con, and the 2 people he wanted his picture with was Jason Voorhees and Twisty the Clown, were the 2 people he wanted to have his picture with. Not Batman or Superman or Spider. No, Twisty the Clown and Jason Voorhees. That's my son for you, because he loves that kind of thing. He finds it quite interesting, and you know, we're watching horror movies all the time, sort of thing. So, do you think horror movies can help us face real fears?
Yes.
Yeah, because it kind of puts you into that mindset to get used to it. But then, you know, you think films like Arachnophobia, did that cure people of arachnophobia or make it worse?
Great film, by the way. Absolutely brilliant shout to bring that up. But for films like that, I think it made people that like reptiles didn't affect them whatsoever. It just made them love the spiders more. But people that already don't like spiders, it made it worse.
Yeah, because
definitely
it makes you think of like them coming out of the toilet and out of the walls. It makes you think about where they can be more. Yeah. So the next question then, do you think fear is more psychological or biological?
Oh, I'm going to say psychological. Yeah. It's in your brain. You know, when it first happens, you're like, okay, I'm definitely scared of that. And that's put in your brain forever. And not just that, but there's a part of your brain, I don't remember where it is, but it's near the stem, that holds your reactions. Your instant reaction to like being.
Well, it's the fight or flight kind of reactions.
That's it, and it's in everyone. It's one of those things about the brain that no one can't have. Every human on the world needs to fight or flight. Yeah, that's why I say it's psychological. There is biological fear. Don't get me wrong. You've got the likes of natural disasters and stuff like that.
No, biological is biological or psychological. So is it an automated response like for your neurons, something like that, where you don't have to think of something and it's not necessarily coming from your brain, but like your body sensing something and kind of then reaction, and then it's pumping like the endorphins around and causing that fight flight? Is it because of your mind is sensing something, or is your body reacting to a stimulus? It's got to be kind of a combination of the two, where your body is kind of trying to defend itself, but your mind also does that as well. So it's kind of a bit of both. I don't think that the psychological is more like when you're thinking about it and you can kind of, you know, get scared of something. But if you think the biological side of it, you're not even thinking about it. Like, you know, a spider or something comes out the corner. Your eyes see it and you react to it. It's not necessarily thinking about it. And the psychology, it's something your body is just kind of reacting to and pumping the endorphins in and stuff, making you go, oh shit, and making you kind of jump. And it's one of those weird ones, isn't it, I think? It's a bit of a strange kind of mixture. But quickly, I wanted to go on to one quick one before we finish. Yeah, is weird fears that people have, like phobias, weird phobias. I actually had a look at a few. There's some weird ones I didn't know about. Half of them you can't pronounce because they are ridiculous.
Okay, do you want to quickly send that link over?
Arachnophobia. Yeah, arachnophobia. What do you think that's a fear of?
Arachnophobia. Oh God, I have no clue.
It's the fear of peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth. I'm not kidding.
That's humans for you.
Plutophobia.
Oh, scared of, like, camera shy.
No, that's a fear of money.
What?
Right? Nomophobia.
Not even going to try and guess.
That's the fear of being without a mobile phone.
Ugh.
Anatidaeophobia.
Go.
It's the fear that there is a duck watching you. What?
Quack, motherfucker.
Like,
Daffy Duck coming for you.
But there's like a fear of mirrors or seeing your own reflection. Obviously, I'm not going to go like the fear of long words is a ridiculously long word as well, which is just stupid. But there's a fear of belly buttons.
Yeah, I
There's
know.
a fear of the number 8, the fear itself, fear of vomiting, fear of crowds. Yeah, fear of the dark, fear of the color yellow. Fear of the color yellow. What are you, like a Green Lantern or something? Are you like, what the hell?
Great one.
Like,
that was a good one there.
Weird. Fear of numbers. Like, but I just with the fear that a duck is watching you. Who the hell's afraid of a duck watching them? Like, what? I do not understand that one at all. That is weird. But a fear of being without a mobile phone. That's getting worse and worse, isn't it? There's more people suffering from that these days.
Just quickly, I did come across someone recently. I don't remember how long it was. I know it was this year. I just did my Gollum impression in college. Yeah. This girl busted out in tears. I was like, what? Oh no, what happened to her? What happened to her? I approached her and she was running away from me. I then find out from her boyfriend that she has irrational fears of voice impressions. I couldn't hold my laughter. He looked at me as like, I want to laugh with you, but I can't.
Fear of impressions. That's just, God.
For example, to anyone who's watching this, Nathan, how good is my Gollum impression?
Ah, yeah, it's good.
It's my precious. And she bursted out into tears. I couldn't believe it.
Oh my God, it's just it's really strange things people get scared of. Like,
I couldn't. No, I can't believe it.
But they've got names for them all. It's like there's people studying different weird fears and then making names for them. But they do purposely, like the one, the fear of long words is a stupidly long word. Like, come on.
I know, like, that's
ridiculous.
Taking the mickey there. That's taking the mick.
Yeah, exactly. But a fear of getting peanut butter stuck to the roof of your mouth. Like, what the hell? I just don't get that. That's a fear. It's like, peanut butter's nice.
I would say getting peanut butter stuck to the roof of your mouth, that's like an inconvenience. That's not a fear. It's like, oh, for goodness sake, really? This?
Yeah.
But then people have a fear like, peanut butter.
But it's that whole fear of the duck is watching. I just don't know how that's common enough for them to have a word for it. Just, not any other creature. Don't my cat's watching me. Eagles, they can watch me, but those ducks, oh God, no. Little ducks.
I don't like Daffy Duck. Donald Duck, come for me tonight. Brill.
Oh my God. Shame it wasn't like Donald phobia or something in it, really.
Donald. Wickedy quack quack.
Oh, it's ridiculous, isn't it? But anyway, we should probably end it there because it's probably a good time. I think we've gone through phobias and fears and stuff as much as we can. I think it's been quite an interesting kind of chat because it's something we're both into. I'm more into horror, obviously, than you are because I'm kind of obsessed with horrors. And as I said, I love like vampire movies and books, and I've read so many different ones and seen almost every vampire movie you can imagine. To the point.
Yeah, you see, you might be more into horror than me, but I really do enjoy it when I sit down and watch.
Oh yeah. That's something I will enjoy. But I've got obsessions. A lot of vampire stuff, but quite a possibly unhealthy vampire obsession, I guess.
Well, you know my obsession, and I watch it 3 times a year. I do a voice impression of the character, for goodness sake.
But you haven't listened to the radio show all the way through yet.
Damn.
Call yourself a fan and you've never listened to the BBC radio adaptation Lord of the Rings. Come on. The best adaptation.
You got me there. I'll give you that.
Yes. And I've got the One Ring behind me as well in the display case.
Yeah, I've got
And
my
I'll
behind
do
me
an
and all.
explain case with like it lights up and stuff. Nice.
I've got the
That's nice.
Silmarillion in front of me right now.
Well, I've got all of them behind me unopened. I got the unopened box set of The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, all like still in cellophane. And I've got a Sauron like Lego figure type of thing. It's not Lego, but it's one of those bigger ones.
Yeah,
Sauron
can you send me a photo of that?
Yeah.
All right,
But that's
Brill,
quite
thank
cool.
you.
That's quite a cool one. I've had that for a long time.
Anyways,
I've got
mate.
weird stuff on my drawer. All right, okay.
Yeah,
Right.
what you call it? It's been over
We
an
shall
hour.
end it there. Well,
Oh, almost.
only just an hour. So anyway, if you want to find us elsewhere, you can find me on YouTube as Wasn't My Fault or on Twitch as Nukami.
You can find me on YouTube, The Welsh Assassin, or The Welsh Assassin 998 on Twitch.
So thank you very much for listening. Please like and comment and all that kind of stuff, and subscribe in all the different places you can find us. And until then, see you next time. Bye bye for now.
Bye bye. Over out.